Welcome in to the CHGO Bears Podcast on a Senior Bowl Tuesday with breaking NFL news, breaking Bears news, lots of stuff going on today as we are live from Bragg's in Carm Central, and Hoge is in Hoge Mansion, diving into the draft, our top 100. We're going to have the top 5 revealed today. But first, things first, everybody. As we do to start the show nowadays, a new tradition, we welcome in our new diehards, ALLCITY.com. We give you the premium content. We give you the discount on the merch. We give you the discount on our takeovers.
Yep.
We give you access to our Discord where we can where literally I sit in bed with you and watch football games, which is what I did this weekend.
And his jammies.
Yeah. I want to welcome in Brian, a.k.a. B to the Izzo. The man can dance. Brian, welcome in. Brian is one of our new diehards. Lawrence, you're very excited about Brian.
Yes.
Then we got Bonnie, a.k.a. the Bontastic. You do not want to mess with Bonnie. Bonnie is one of our new diehards.
Bonbons?
The Bonbon. Outstanding dessert. Okay. And meal. Bonnie, the Bontastic, is in. And then my guy, Pierre. So smooth. So real, just so chill.
Yeah.
My main man Pierre is with us.
That's cool.
Do you know how much cooler Pierre is than you?
Well, we just knew that shouting out the diehards that you were going to find a way to make this weird.
Yeah. Well,
and you've accomplished that in less than a week.
I don't think it's weird. I think it's great. But that's your opinion. And then our guy Joe, Lunch Pail Joe, get the job done Joe, run the ball Joe.
Hard hat, lunch pail Joe.
Our Joe Cool. He's also got a Joe Montana to him. Mm-hmm. 4 arguable more goats coming in today. Welcome to the diehard family. Hoge.
Hi, Hoge.
What's up, buddy? You're a diehard too.
Well, I'm just disappointed we don't have one more. Could have been an outstanding starting 5 there. Yep. Great intro.
Yep.
But we were one man short. We only had 4. Or woman.
We once again, we greatly appreciate the support. It goes a long way around here, and we try to give you 18 times the value back. Check it out at allchgo.com.
Some breaking news right as we were walking up to the studio.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Bears have a new wide receivers coach, but I think even more interesting around the division is that Ben Johnson, who was talking to the Commanders and was the hot name out there, has decided to stay in Detroit. I'll tee you guys up on it. I mean, what's your read on why he wanted to do that? It seemed like the perfect time for him to leave.
Well, I think that as same thing last year when I think Carolina really wanted him, he's being picky, and good for him because, too many coaches enter situations where they're not really given a chance to really build something. And he's right now in a spot where he's seen a franchise let Dan Campbell build something. And so he has a patience here that's probably good for him. Now, that being said, I thought he'd take the Washington job because, there's no way in hell I would have taken the Washington job a year ago, but Dan Snyder's out, new ownership.
Right.
And on top of that, you get the number 2 pick. So you got the opportunity. You get the opportunity to get one of these top 2 quarterbacks, which we're about to talk here in a second too. So I am surprised by this. Maybe, and this is raw news, so maybe we'll find out. Maybe he wasn't Washington's top choice. I mean, they have been looking at a lot of different options, but regardless, what it means for the Bears is this is no Gouda. Because that offense is Gouda, and they would have taken a step back probably. There's a lot of reasons to think the Lions could take at least a small step back going into next year, and this is a huge. I mean, if I'm in Detroit right now, my hangover from the loss on Sunday might have just ended because I'm thrilled with the fact Ben Johnson's back, can keep this offense humming in the right direction. This is huge news in the NFC North.
Yeah, 100%. It's disappointing. We were hoping the Lions would get a little worse here. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to if he was their first choice in Washington, we'll never know this answer, but did it have more to do with the organization fit or that he doesn't like, the quarterbacks or potentially Drake May? If Drake May goes at 2, he's not as big on Drake May and, pairing himself with Drake over the next 5 years, or Caleb for that matter.
If you want to read into it in Bears land, it could be that Ben, and I've seen it in the chat already, Ben Johnson thinks there's only one great quarterback in this class, and his name is Caleb Williams, and he's going to be going to Chicago, so I'm not taking this job where I'm getting the second guy. I'm Ben Johnson. I'm the man. You could read it that way. Or, as I accelerate the conversation to the Bears news of the day, it could be because, look, the Bears have hired the other side of the way I'm reading things. I think it's brilliantly by me, as per always.
You are very brilliant, man.
Thank you. New wide receiver.
You mentioned the wide receivers coach right now. I'm going to come through the screen right now and end the show.
Hey, this is huge news, Hoge. Chris Beatty from the Chargers, who coached DJ Moore at Maryland. Beatty called up Moore. Moore called up the Bears. Bring this guy in here. Fields is staying. That's what it's all about. He knows what's happening. Justin staying, which goes back to Ben Johnson. I have no idea what Ben Johnson's thinking.
We can both do ourselves a favor and ignore that end of the point. Because to me, I think the bigger news that we haven't really talked about yet is that Ian Cunningham does look like he's staying with the Bears. Ian and Ryan Poles are at the Senior Bowl right now, working side by side, keying in on the offensive line from some of the pictures Nick Moreano was sharing on social media. He'll be joining us here in a little bit. And to me, that's the big story for the Bears, is that Ian Cunningham is going to still be a part of this organization for what is easily the biggest offseason in Chicago Bears history.
Yeah, and it's the same thing as last year. I think, and we saw that pay off. You want to keep them together if you can. But I think even the Bears are a little surprised here that Ian Cunningham is back with the team. I know Ryan Poles felt like last year, after he turned down the Arizona job, that there would be more opportunities. There ended up being 5 openings this offseason. I think the minority efforts are showing to be working on the head coaching side in this head coaching cycle, but obviously not so much on the GM side. And those incentives, the incentives are really for the teams to promote their guys up into positions, and the Bears would have gotten a couple third-round picks if Ian Cunningham got one of these jobs. But in this case, unless we find out some information later, it doesn't sound like he necessarily turned down a job like last year. He just wasn't offered one this time around, which is very surprising to me, especially with the amount of offers, openings open. But good news for the Bears, at least. The third round picks would have been nice, and one of those would have actually been in this year's draft, so that would have helped you this year.
Right.
But having your assistant general manager also helps you a lot right now in both free agency and the draft, and they've proven to be a pretty good team here these first 2 years.
So, to recap, Ben Johnson staying in Detroit as their offensive coordinator, Ian Cunningham staying with the Bears as the assistant GM.
Chris Beatty
coming over from the Chargers is our new wide receivers coach. Hoge, I'll give you a hypothetical that you're not going to want to answer. Let's just say that the Bears don't have a great season here in 2024, and they're going to make a change at head coach next year. Do you favor Ben Johnson for that role or Bill Belichick, who apparently hasn't done anything in this game because nobody's going to hire him either? Like, Ben Johnson, for real, could actually become a candidate for the Bears down the line. With him staying, an offensive mind like that, if the Bears don't do well in 2024, it's because the offense logically didn't come around. I would think that the defense is going to be there, and that would be it. That potentially down the line could be a name for the Bears. That's one way to look at it, at least.
Well, and if you're in a situation where you're, first of all, I hate this hypothetical that we're even talking about this. But
sure, ideally, Flus will be here. The Bears are going to win 10-plus games. We'll be in the playoffs next year, and whatever they do at quarterback is going to work out brilliantly. But if it doesn't go the other way, continue.
Well, then, if your theory that Ben Johnson only wants Caleb Williams, so then maybe he can get him next year, with the Bears job. I don't know. That's crazy.
Well, we like our insurance policies. We got to hedge a little bit.
Well, if you want to spin that forward, that he's an option next year to replace Matt Eberflus.
Hey,
go ahead.
It's better to do that in some way than to freak out that all of a sudden the Lions are going to become this juggernaut because Ben Johnson is staying. I'm gonna not do that today. That's my plan on the Ben Johnson staying in Detroit plan. And I think the Lions are going to be good. I think Green Bay is going to be good. I think the Vikings.
However, the flaw in your logic there is that if you're hiring Ben Johnson next year, it means that the Lions were a juggernaut once again in 2024.
Worst case scenario, they're a juggernaut and we hire him. Okay, fine.
Can Hoge, can I pick your brain for a second as far as your because yesterday you guys did a good job talking about your Fields evaluation. I know I'm kind of calling an audible here. I know you want to get to your top 5 of the Bears 100 here coming up, but I think it's a nice way of leading into this conversation, potentially just talking about the quarterbacks. And I did have a couple questions for you in regards to how you evaluate and come up with your grades, because it was a conversation that I think created somewhat of a lightning rod conversation for Bears fans after you came out with it. So I guess the first question I have for you is, how much do you factor in the deficiencies of the OC when you are also comparing that to what Justin Fields should be held accountable for on tape? Like, how hard is it for you to go through an entire year's worth of tape, but then also consider the fact that the OC who just got fired, may not have good, route set up, wide receivers too close to each other, not calling plays correctly, too many screens, whatever. Like, that's the first question I had.
Well, those two things are not necessarily the same when you're grading a player, because as the player, you still have to execute what's called. So, we can zoom out in a game plan and be like, that was a bad game plan. But if Luke Getsy is calling a bad play, no one's open. The quarterback's not getting downgraded on that anyway.
Okay.
So they are sort of related, but they're also not in how the plays are actually being graded. Because now on the flip side, like, you may not agree with the idea that Justin Fields should be standing there in the pocket as much as he has, but if it's 3rd and 5 and he's got a wide open slant to DJ Moore and doesn't pull the trigger on it, that's a miss.
Okay.
You throw the ball to your number 1 wide receiver, regardless if he's open, regardless of whether or not you agree with the design of the specific play that's being called. So, when we go back to the screens, okay, so in Minnesota, by the time we got to like the 3rd, 4th quarter, and it's like screen number 9 or 10 or whatever it was to the outside, and the corner has jumped that to break it up. Well, I'm not penalizing Justin for being late on that throw, because at that point they're just jumping him. But earlier in the game, when he is a tick slow getting that to the outside, you do downgrade him. Now, if I remember right, I think it's the same exact game. The first play of the game, they call for a screen, Nicole Kmet out there with, I believe, Tyler Scott or one of the other small wide receivers, maybe it was Darnell Mooney, blocking for Cole instead of the other way around. And the play didn't work. But I'm not necessarily going to punish Justin for that, because the design of it is flawed to begin with.
Sure.
And unless he really is just so slow getting the ball out there, or the ball is thrown way behind the guy you're throwing the screen to, because that can't happen. The ball's got to be out, and it's got to be in front of the guy in stride, regardless of what the play call is. Does that all make sense? The two things are sort of related, but they're also really not when you're breaking down one play at a time and saying, did the quarterback execute it or not? And is there any gray area? If there is, okay, then fine. I operate more in black and white. Did the play happen or not? And it applies for other positions too. Did the linebacker make the play at the point of attack, or did he not make the play?
Right. And so, I definitely, it makes sense. And I think for a lot of fans, obviously not being able to sit in the film room with you and understand exactly how you come up with these grades, I kind of wanted to peel that curtain back to understand the nuance on how you break down from play to play. The second question, and real quick, I don't mean to bring it back to yesterday's conversation, but the other question I did have for you in it is, this is something I question with all film evaluators. How hard is it for you? Because like when the season ended, you came out with some stats and we started having our takes when we were trying to figure out who the OC would be, that you said, like, Justin Fields regressed. Look at the tape when we were on with Woot and Carman After Dark. You were like, his numbers actually showed that he did worse when he came back from injury, when we all thought it felt like he did better. So then you come here yesterday and you have the film that you say then backs up that claim. But my question to you is, how hard is it to not confirm your own biases? Because I think that there's some fans that feel that some people that break down the film have their own internal bias and then try to confirm that through the tape. So is that something that you struggle with as you evaluate players?
I do struggle with it because I really want Justin Fields to succeed. This is the thing that people don't understand. My bias is the exact opposite. I fought for this guy coming out of Ohio State. I backed up the pick. I loved it at the time. I thought everything they did with him as a rookie was terrible. I said this offseason he would make a huge jump. I look like an idiot that he didn't make that jump. So all these people are out there being like, oh, you already made up your mind. You're just confirming that you're a Justin Fields hater. That's never been me. This has been harder to honestly admit this year because it's not what I thought was going to happen, nor what I, internally wanted to happen at all. It doesn't make the draft evaluation look good. It doesn't make anything I said last offseason look good. So yes, to answer your question, the internal biases and the confirmation biases, that's a real thing. Anybody who watches, here's the thing. I saw that QB school clip go viral or whatever last Friday, and JT O'Sullivan's getting pounded for that. And the amount of uninformed Justin Fields supporters that have probably never watched one of his videos or maybe never even heard of him or the QB school until they saw that clip go viral Friday have no idea that guy's probably the biggest Justin Fields fan that exists. That he had him number 1 over Trevor Lawrence in that draft. Every time he does a breakdown, he's literally, you can like hear him coiling up in disappointment because he doesn't want to be saying the things that he's saying. It's just what he's seen on the film. And so every single time, trust me, as I sit here in my office where I'm at right now, and I'm in, by myself, I don't have a microphone in front of me. I don't have to worry about what people are thinking about, what I'm really like. I will literally scream, just freaking throw the ball. Like I will honestly react like a fan in some of these moments because I'm like, dude, you just got to do. It's frustrating sometimes to watch somebody that I believe in. And by the way, then we get into this whole thing right now that it's like I'm talking about him like he's terrible. No one thinks he's terrible. The most amazing thing about that whole reaction yesterday to it was a 20-minute breakdown that could not have been more down the middle, more fair to the positives, to the negatives, all throughout. And at the end of it, I said, Justin Fields is a long-term starter, despite my own grade suggesting he's not. I was critical to my own grade. And then people are on social media. How was it viewed? Like we just blasted Justin Fields for 20 minutes? What? Like I honestly do not know how an actual human being could watch that and come to that conclusion. It makes no sense whatsoever unless you have your own biases that are so far in his favor that you're blind to even the simplest idea that is unanimously agreed upon from anybody who watches football that Justin Fields is not on time with his throws.
Okay.
I didn't mean
anything else you want to do this
that was it. I didn't mean to commandeer it, but I did. There was a few questions that I thought were fascinating just to try to get inside the mind of how you look at the film and stuff. And I respect your opinion. I know many people that watch this show do, but I also think it's cool to shed light on how your process is and how you go through this and look at it all. So I apologize, but I thought that was good. Hoge was on fire there.
Hey, listen, I thought that was lovely. I just am exhausted by the conversation. I think like a lot of people are at this point. And for the record, since we're here again, as I responded to one person whose name I forget, who claims that he respects everyone's opinion on Twitter, that's his thing, and that he actually just doesn't do that at all. I said back to him, that was the most down the middle conversation in the history of Justin Fields ever. There was no hot take in there. And for the record on the show, I have said personally myself, the best story, the coolest one, the one I'm actually rooting for is that it works out with Justin. I think that's an unbelievable story. They stuck with him. Heart and soul of Chicago. Dude who's absolutely as likable as you could possibly get off the field, shows tons of respect for the fans. I'd love to see it work out.
Be honest. Your best story is that Tyson Bagent leads us to 3 Super Bowls.
That would be incredible for me because I was an early Bagent buyer. But
I'm sorry for commandeering this entire segment.
But it just doesn't.
But I
there's no winning here, as you're aware. There's no.
Of course.
People are gonna. This is a very. I mean, we're in a little bit of a civil war here. But, we're doing your top 5. But let me first tell you about top 5 on our Bears 100s coming up in 1 second with Hoge. He's been diving in here in Hoge headquarters, let's call it, on the draft. And we're going to have an incredible top 100 board for you, as always. Become a diehard, ALLCHGO.com. It's only behind the paywall because we work so hard on it, put so much time into it, and it's an appreciation for those of you who support us to that level. AllCHGO.com, become a diehard. Also, shout out to our friends, CD1 Price Cleaners. CD1 Price Cleaners has some, if you're ever wearing anything nice, Braggs, that would require you to use a dry cleaner.
Yeah, I heard you laughing.
Well, I'm just saying, you look great, but sometimes, it'd be nice to see you and
you can
not
take your hoodies there too.
You know what? I wore something nice on my anniversary, and you made fun of me for how I dressed. Now keep going.
That was a bad outfit. Hey, listen, bottom line with CD1, customers could save over 30% on their dry cleaning bill by switching to CD1 Price Cleaners. Other cleaners, they're charging you a different price for every garment type, like that hoodie right there. Plus, they have upcharges that you may pay a different price each time you visit. You don't want that. At CD1 Price Cleaners, they charge one low price for any garment. Yep, that's right. Even sports jerseys, Gregory. You can get your Devin Hester 23 cleaned beautifully at CD1 for the same one low price. They've also got the fast turnaround. CD1 Price Cleaners. Every order ready the same or next day. Same or next day, buddy.
Cool.
Other cleaners take 2 or 4 days to clean your garments and get them ready. Not at CD1. So wide variety of services, dry cleaning, wash and fold laundry for those of us who haven't learned how to do that into our late 30s, blankets and comforters, tailoring and alterations, leather cleaning too, area rug cleaning.
Okay.
For all your nasty soda that you've spilled on your rug at home, you could get that done too.
I'm catching a lot of strays during this.
You are. Visit chgo.cd1.com. chgo.cd1.com. The link's in the description, by the way, if you can't write this down. Once there, you can pick from an in-store coupon or an online pickup. They'll come and get it from you, and delivery options.
That's right. Now I want to give a shout out to our guys at Circa Sportsbook as we head to Vegas here next week. And there's nothing I am more excited for than to go to the Circa Sportsbook, and see the
Stadium
big pool,
swim.
the stadium swim. It's been something I've wanted to do. I'm excited to experience it maybe that first night when Wisconsin and Purdue face off in a Big Ten basketball matchup. Me and Hoge can try to drown each other in that pool. Tight money line splits. Circa Sportsbook provides Games will strive to be a -110 split on the Circa Sports menu, unlike other sportsbooks, which may use a -115 or -120 split. Circa Sports keeps as little money as possible on large market bets, especially compared to other books. High app limits. They're very transparent. Circa does not limit players based on their winnings. Every player has the same limits, unlike other books who do limit winning players. I encourage everybody, all bettors, to download and explore all sports betting apps available. See for yourself. Nobody does it better than Circa Sports. Their customer service is second to none. Real people behind the Circa Sports brand who resolve issues in a timely fashion, unlike other books who use those annoying chat bots. Nobody likes chat bots. Nobody likes Carm. All aspects of the app are being run by the same team that runs the main Circa Sports book at Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas. Download the Circa Sports Illinois app at circasports.com/Illinois-app to sign up today. Also be on the lookout for Circa events, watch parties, and tailgates. They've been a great partner to us with our tailgates here this past season. If you or someone you know may have a gambling problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text GAMB to 833-234 or visit areyourreallywinning.com.
So Nicholas Moreano is coming up in about 10 minutes. We got Hoge's top 5 of his top 100 in 30 seconds. But just looking at some of the news out there, Adam Schefter, Ben Johnson was not the head coaching lock that people thought, and his asking price spooked some teams per sources. Some are saying that he was asking $15 million a year. So, look, I love my gig. You want me? You're going to have to pay me insane money.
Well, if Dan Campbell keeps passing up field goals and extra points, maybe he'll just take Dan's job next year if that's how it goes. Although I'm a big team Dan Campbell guy.
I know. That's what Dan does, except Dan should have a little more variance in his game. $5 super chat from Michael McCoy. I completely agree with Hoge. I have rooted for Justin since the day he got here, and it's painful to know that he continues to hold on to the ball. There's a ton of people right in that boat with you, Michael, that really, really love Justin, but are looking at the unique option the Bears are in with the number 1 overall pick and a chance to take a swing at it. And yes, of course, there is no guarantee that Caleb is going to become the next Peyton Manning. Maybe he'll become the next Jamarcus Russell, but it's much more likely that he's going to become a very good quarterback versus, a complete bust. But all right, Hoge, let's get to your top 5 as you're battling through your way here. And I have a feeling there might be some quarterbacks on this top 5.
Well, yeah, let's start with number 1, the guy we've been talking about for months now, Caleb Williams. No shock here. I would actually completely dismiss what you just said. I don't think there's any chance, zero chance that he becomes Jamarcus Russell. That's part of the reason why I like him so much. I think the floor here with Caleb Williams is extremely high. The bust factor is extremely low. And the ceiling is obviously, it's been very clear at this point that this is my opinion, and I think it's really hard to argue against, that the ceiling is higher than what Justin Fields has shown us so far. So, I really wish we could talk about these conversations differently, and that it's just, here's the Justin Fields breakdown, here's the Caleb Williams breakdown. The only area where they intersect is the decision that has to be made, but it seems like it's impossible to have one conversation without it sounding like you're knocking the other, when that's really not the case. Right. Justin Fields can be a long-term starter, and at the same time, Caleb Williams can be the clear-cut number 1 choice in this draft, one of the best quarterback prospects that I've ever seen. Now that I've seen way more of his film and watched a ton of it, especially in the last month, there's not a throw that he can't make. Is he flawless? No, I mean, he makes mistakes. He's got some things that got to be coached down, I would say, because he does shoot for the home run sometimes, but his release is quicker. His accuracy is better. And on top of all that, he's actually, in my opinion, watching this, a perfect fit for the offense the Bears just had and are still trying to have here with Shane Waldron. And a lot of his strengths are the same weaknesses that we talk about with Justin Fields. So all these, sometimes you see someone say that Caleb Williams has the same weaknesses as Justin Fields. Could not disagree with that more. Could not disagree with that more. He's better in a lot of areas. Now, that being said, he's also not as explosive as a runner, but he sure as hell can run. But he's not Justin Fields. That's for damn sure. And he's not quite as big as strong. But he's still pretty strong for being on the shorter side of quarterbacks. And it's very, very hard to bring down at the same time. So that's why he's number one.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan Poles once said, grade the flashes. And I think when you watch the tape of Caleb Williams, there's a lot of flashes. When you talk about his strengths, if you had to rank them as far as the strengths he has, for me, the way he maneuvers in the pocket is something that I find very impressive. The way he fights to stay in the pocket, reset the pocket when things break down around the offensive line. Obviously, his off script, get out of the pocket and make amazing plays. His release time, the way it comes out of his hand, the zip on his passes. If you had to rank them, like, how do you rank his strengths from top to bottom?
Yeah, I mean, well, all those things are on there. But that does remind me, like, I think sometimes with these mobile quarterbacks, we get kind of caught into this trap of, well, we got to move the pocket. We got to, and it's true. Like in Justin Fields' case, we did it with Mitch Trubisky too. Like, you got to get him on the outside, use more boots, get him outside. He's more effective there. When it comes to Caleb Williams, like, there's not going to be a Green Bay defensive back that says we just need to make him play quarterback. That's not going to happen. I'm telling you, he's a quarterback. He's a passer. Is he going to make mistakes? Is he going to have probably more interceptions than anybody wants as a rookie? Probably. But he is going to sit in there and play quarterback and only look to scramble when it's, the absolute right thing to do. In fact, there are times where he turns down scrambles, and I mark him as a negative on his film sometimes, because I'm like, whoa, that opened up. You could have just gotten 15 yards right there if you had just gone, and instead it was an incompletion. So, yeah. I mean, we don't have to spend too much time on Caleb Williams, but that's why he's number one.
I mean, we never talk about him.
Yeah, right. I mean, I don't want to advance the conversation too far, and I want to move on as well to number two. But I liked how you put it with coach down. Look, yeah, the dude holds onto the ball a long time, and it's not infrequent. He doesn't
though. He doesn't though. That's not what he does. He sometimes goes for the home run when he doesn't need to, but it's not a result of him holding on to it too long. It's not. And I hate when people are saying he holds on to the ball too long. He doesn't.
Let me rephrase it. And what I meant was he will hold on to it to try to hit home run balls because he's that talented, and he has both the vision and the arm strength to do it. And how you put it, Hoge, was that you might need to coach him down. I'd rather have a guy coming in that can do that, and you can tell him, hey man, look, let's take the check down for 8 yards here and live to play another play. And work on that part of it. But I will say this too, and I want to move on. It does scare me a little bit that the whole Eberflus, everything the whole second half is just, we just got to take care of the football. Don't turn it over. Don't turn it over. Hey man, if you draft this guy, you got to give him some leeway to play the game and not be worried about him turning it over as he's learning to play in the NFL. So, which could impact winning, and Flus is going to be very focused on winning. So, but we can have that conversation at another time. Who's number two? Or you can
real quick before I reveal number two, I just want to be very clear to everybody watching this too. So we're eventually building up to a Bears 100, Bears focused, top 100 list of prospects that is available only to our diehards. It's a database. So it's not, we're going to refer to it sometimes on our shows. We're not going to reveal the whole thing on our shows really until we actually get to draft night. We're constantly talking about it. But in the meantime, if you want to learn about these prospects, this database is being built up with highlights, with our notes and all this stuff. So it's a huge value. I just don't want people to think because we're giving away our top 5 here that, there's so much more in there. And we're also not, on Thursday when the top 20 comes out, it's not like we're going to reveal the whole top 20. I think the top 5-ish prospects are going to be pretty obvious to begin with. So I want to give people a taste today. And, of course, there's even more within once you're able to click in with the database. You can see highlights and all this stuff as well as our notes. But number 2, Bears fans' favorite, not as polarizing of a topic, but Marvin Harrison Jr. comes in at number 2. I do have him above Drake May. I think Marvin Harrison Jr., just his size, his speed, his route running ability, the way he catches the football so smoothly, the contested catches, pretty much everything he does should translate to the NFL level relatively easily. In terms of, wide receivers sometimes needing a transition year, Marvin Harrison Jr. seems like he can come in and be pretty dangerous right away. So I understand some people saying you don't need to draft a wide receiver that high. I think this is the exception to the rule in that case because Marvin Harrison Jr. really is that good.
You got a comp for him? He reminds you of?
Marvin Harrison. No, I'm just kidding.
I knew it. That's what I was going to say. Got to go there.
I've heard.
I just thought it was a funny question.
I've heard people compare him to AJ Green.
Yeah, I think he'll be better than AJ Green.
Who was very good.
But yeah, no, I'll have to give that one some more thought. I only like throwing comparisons out there when I really believe them, when I really see them. I don't do it with every prospect, but I do have one for our next one, sort of.
Do you think quickly though? Do you think that he is the least risky player? Like, because with quarterback, there's so much that entails a quarterback working out, as we all know too well in Chicago. Do you think that he has the least risk to draft and know he will work out?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I kind of want to say define your risk level because, like I've said many times, with Caleb Williams, like I'm extremely confident this guy's gonna be able to start in the NFL. The question is, does he become the truly Hall of Fame quarterback, which he's capable of being? But once again, I've never said that he just 100% will be. With Marvin Harrison, I guess I feel similar there. But also at the same time, that floor might even be a tick higher because I'll be like really shocked if Marvin Harrison Jr. isn't a number 1 wide receiver in this league. He just really, it seems to translate.
I mean, couldn't Ian Cunningham have just decided to take a job and give us those thirds, which we could have used to package up to move up from 9 so we could get 1 and 2 in this draft if they choose to go that way? That wouldn't have been terrible. Hoge, who's number 3? Let's move along.
You think it costs 2 third-round picks to go from 9 to 2?
No, I just think, we're going to trade Justin to Atlanta for the 8, and then we're going to take the 9 and the 8, and then we're going to take Cunningham's 3rd, and then we're going to and basically it's going to be like for free to move up and draft Marvin, and then everybody will quiet down because the Bears will have won draft night.
Well, these next few guys are why you might not need to do that.
Okay, go ahead.
Number 3, I have a feeling I might have him higher than most, but he really impressed me during the college football playoff. He impressed me all season. He's impressed the more tape I've watched on him and watching Penix as well. But Rome Odunze, I is another guy that I just feel like is going to be a good player. And when I'm putting the top of the top, I'm looking at the guys that don't have a high bust factor that I really just see translating to the league really well. Now, this is sort of a little awkward comp, but because I've heard Larry Fitzgerald and I see that a little bit. But honestly, when I'm watching him, I see just a bigger DJ Moore. Like, he reminds me a lot of DJ Moore and how he plays, his yards after the catch and all that. But he's bigger. That's the crazy thing. Like, he's 6'3", 215. So I just think Rome Odunze is going to be really good. So he comes in at number 3, even ahead of Drake May here.
The dude ran a 4.3 4.40, and on tape when I'm watching him, he doesn't look like a burner to me at all. He just looks super solid, which that's why I like the DJ Moore comp there.
Well, we had Brandon Gustafson on, as I butcher his last name. He called him a contested catch god.
Right. So, well, and he's got a 37-inch vertical.
Yeah.
So, which is 36.5 inches greater than your vertical.
Gustafson. Wow.
But yeah, so Yeah, no, he makes a ton of contested catches, and Hoge
too.
all the way up to number 3.
That's
which
crazy.
makes you think that he's not going to get to 9,
which is depressing.
Okay, so go ahead.
It is, but it might make you feel better about if there is a scenario where if he does, I don't think the gap between Marvin Harrison Jr. and Rome Odunze is as big as some others think. I think they're both going to be really good wide receivers, and you got to remember, you already have DJ Moore. Right, so it's not like you got to go out there and get Randy Moss right now. You just got to get a really good secondary option, and you're rolling here. So I mean, Rome Odunze, you might not like him as much as Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm telling you, put Rome Odunze on the same field as DJ Moore, everything's gonna be fine.
I've got a conversation about that coming up for after Hoge, about what it would look like if there actually had been another 1,000-yard receiver next to DJ this year that we could have had. But go ahead. Who's number 4?
Number 4 is Drake May. So I still think Drake May is going to be very good. I think the bust factor is a little bit higher with him. There's some things definitely to clean up in his mechanics. The accuracy is not as good as Caleb Williams. It can be definitely hit or miss. You watch his film. He's as big, if not more, of a home run hitter. But there's too many balls I see sail out of bounds that aren't even catchable, those foul balls that we talk about. So I just don't think he's quite as clean of a prospect, but he is bigger. He sure as hell can move too. He's hard to bring down. He's got an unbelievable throw against Pitt where he's got a guy pulling him down and he throws it left-handed to a wide-open receiver for a touchdown. So he's going to be fun to watch too, wherever he ends up. But when I initially started watching these two guys and I watched some of Caleb's worst games, I had these guys a little bit closer together. The more and more Caleb Williams you watch compared to the more and more Drake May, I do think there is separation there. And I will be shocked. I will be absolutely shocked if Drake May's taken over Caleb Williams once we get to the draft.
Okay.
So we got Nick coming up, so I don't want to go too long here. But just if you were to – I've heard some people say that Drake May fits what the Bears want to do more. You've already said the opposite beforehand, but just will you underline that one more time? Or what's your reaction to people who say that?
Yeah, I guess I haven't even really heard that, and I don't really
Maybe I'm paying too much attention to Twitter. But I've seen that out there.
Not.
Yeah. Well, congratulations.
In what ways does he do more? What the
Say
I
more?
don't know.
He sees more in the pocket. He's more of a pocket passer. He's more predictable what he's going to do. Ball on time, that type of stuff. Which
I mean, I honestly think both quarterbacks are somewhat similar in that. I like Caleb Williams. I think Williams' accuracy is better. And I think his release is quicker. So I think in terms of timing and some of the things that have been disjointed in the Bears offense, the things that you probably would blame on the quarterback and not the play caller, I think Caleb Williams covers that up or takes that to another level a little bit more than Drake May would right away. I also think Caleb's ready to go faster than Drake May. I've heard some Justin Herbert comps for Drake May, and as somebody who admittedly did not give Justin Herbert enough credit coming out, I kind of agree with that. You know, it's kind of like when I watch Drake May, I'm like, oh, this is kind of a Justin Herbert do-over for me. I still like Justin Herbert, but I didn't have him as high as they probably should have based on what he's become. Well,
and look, Caleb just played a lot more football than Drake May. And to me, that it's, at least for hitting the ground running, that matters. So, all right, who's number 5?
Number 5, I'm a little uneasy about this one myself just because I don't necessarily agree with drafting this position this high. But where things stand right now, and by the way, everything's fluid. Guys are going to move around. The more linemen I watch, maybe I'll move one up a little bit farther. Maybe there's a corner or something that ends up in here. But I'm going back to a guy that I've loved now for a couple of years who I think is an incredibly good fit for the Bears and what they need offensively. So, by the way, 5 offensive guys here, if you haven't noticed, at the top of the draft. It's a heavy offensive draft. It's a great year to have 2 top 10 picks, which the Bears do, top 9 picks. And maybe if this guy falls to 9, I'm running up there. I'll make the pick 4, Ryan Poles. Brock Bowers, the tight end from Georgia, who's slightly undersized from a, if you want this guy lining up on the line of scrimmage, blocking all the time. But if you have Cole Kmet already on your roster and you need a true U tight end, which is what the Bears need, basically everything that Robert Tonyan turned out to not be this year for the Bears, this guy 100% is, and probably can be right away. Because he might struggle a little bit to block at times and maybe some of the advanced running schemes, but he should be able to get on that field next year and run some routes for you and get open. You can line him up outside. You can move him around. He's a true move tight end. So I'm putting him here at 5, which even to me is like, man, that's pretty high for a tight end when I don't necessarily believe in drafting tight ends that high. But this guy is different, and he's a great fit for the Bears. Remember, when we do this Bears 100, we're tailoring this specifically to the Bears' needs, not necessarily how you would, make a top 100 list for just the NFL in general.
Yeah, I definitely would like to see them pair. I know Corey would probably kill us with not paying attention to the trenches, but it would be nice to pair, if you are to draft a quarterback at 1, to pair him with one of these offensive weapons that could potentially fall to 9. And I'll be curious to see as we go down this list where you have Malik Neighbors slated, so everybody's going to have to stay tuned for that, including myself, because I just think when it pertains to one of those 3 guys, Rome Odunze, Malik Neighbors, Brock Bowers, whoever falls to 9, and one of them will, it's just a numbers game that I think if one of those guys is there, you got to take them.
Great stuff. We're going to get to Nick, and we'll see you in studio tomorrow, brother.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, I've been watching I'm in Hoge heaven right now. I got the Senior Bowl practices up on my screen here, putting together these draft prospect profiles. So I got a lot more for you tomorrow. I can't wait to see who because Nick's there. And I got names already written down from here. So I can't wait to see what names Nick gives you from the first practice that already happened this morning down there in Mobile.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that too. So we'll get to him in a second. We'll see you tomorrow, brother. Great stuff.
All right. Bye, guys.
All right. Adam Hoge from Hoge Heaven.
Hoge Heaven.
Hoge Heaven.
I mean, you want to talk about a football nerd right there. Hoge watching the Senior Bowl and reading about prospects.
It's nice.
That's not your heaven.
I was watching the Senior Bowl over
you
there
were looking at
you.
The Senior Bowl was on. You were reading Twitter. You were.
I was watching the Senior Bowl. Tom, was I watching the Senior Bowl earlier?
Tom,
thank you, Tom.
Tom, don't side with Braggs. It's a bad idea. Our partner Ray Chevrolet knows not to side with Braggs. They're ringing in the new year with the best offers. It's all month long, and hey, the month's coming to an end here, so get moving. Make your way to Ray Chevy on Route 12 in Fox Lake to join in on the savings and start your Ray resolution. One of the top-selling Chevy dealers in the Midwest. You're always going to be able to shop one of Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories. Right now, they are trying to make room for the inbound 2024 models, so all their current inventory must go. Plus, you can find the perfect tailgate vehicle, by the way, at Ray Chevy. They've got 100 new Silverados available. Prices starting at $19,495. $19,495. That's under $20,000. Thank you very much. Or you could take $10,000 off a new 2023 Silverado. Top it all off, the pricing over 125 vehicles under $20,000, under $20,000. Seriously, I mean, come on. We are in the affordable price range here. Can't get more affordable than that. And by the way, when you go to Ray Chevy, mention CHGO. They will schedule your oil change at Ray Chevy in Fox Lake. That's right. You bring your car in there. You're looking at other cars. They'll give you the oil change. Start your new year off right. Visit Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or raychevrolet.com to start your Ray resolution. Been serving the community since 1963. Find new roads.
Find new roads, and when you do, drive on over to Midtown Athletic Club. Our guys, Midtown, love Midtown. We were just there last week doing a live show in Bannockburn. A lot of fun. They're also in Palatine, Willowbrook. They've got the athletic club and hotel in the middle of Bucktown and Lincoln Park. My wife and I had a very lovely stay there, and then the next morning did some workouts.
Good pillows.
Hot yoga, great pillows.
Excellent support.
Excellent support.
That's nice.
Just, nice shower.
Did you steal any of the products?
Didn't steal anything.
Don't believe you.
I'm a man of integrity.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a great place, great vibes. They got everything, that you need there. Place to do your work. I've seen kids doing their homework there. You can get food and everything in between. It's great for families with kids, like I said. It's about making lifestyle changes. So, that's what it's all about. Midtown Palatine launched a multi-million-dollar transformation of the club, which will be complete in early 2024. Midtown is offering no initiation fees this January at their Bannockburn, Palatine, and Willowbrook locations. So, you still have an opportunity. It's still January, right? Like 2 more days.
It is. Get in there.
Tomorrow's the last day of January, right?
Tell them Carm sent you.
Tomorrow is my mother's birthday.
Happy.
I haven't forgotten, Barb. I know you're watching. Because every year I forget, like, is it the 30th or the 31st? And then I just tell her happy birthday at midnight of the 30th, and that's how I always hedge my bet.
That's a good hedge.
Yeah, it's a good hedge. So, like I said, cool club features, luxury locker rooms, dry saunas, premium amenities, amazing outdoor and indoor hot tubs. They got the tennis courts, yoga, boxing, spin cycling, cross training, group exercises, everything you need. So make sure you head over to Midtown Athletic Club today.
Midtown.com/CHGO. Tell them Carm sent you. All right. Nicholas Moreano, our sunglass wearing superstar.
Go get yourself some cheap sunglasses.
Live from the Senior Bowl. Man saw practice today.
By the way, real quick, those are not cheap sunglasses he's wearing. I know that.
No,
for a
he's
fact.
got the goods. He's got the goods.
Yeah,
I mean, Nick, we're Team Nick. We saw you catching some heat for wearing sunglasses on your hit yesterday. We got your back, so we're going to wear sunglasses for this segment because the future's so bright here at CHGO Bears, we got to wear shades.
I completely agree, guys. And, yeah, I was just wearing sunglasses because there's the sun and it protects your eyes. I mean, it made common sense to me, but whatever.
Don't listen to the haters, Nick. We got your back. So, all right, you saw one practice. You've seen Ryan Poles. You've seen Ian Cunningham. You ran into a guy by the name of Kevin Fishbane. It's been a big day down there. What are you most excited about so far?
Well, anytime Kevin Fishbane randomly comes behind you and just, pulls out a camera and takes a selfie. I didn't even know who it was at first. I mean, it's hard to top that. But, yeah, Kevin Fishbane's here, some other Bears beat reporters. But so are a bunch of Bears scouts. Ian Cunningham and Ryan Poles, you guys were, during the first practice, laser focused on these offensive linemen. They kind of had the end zone view, too, so they wanted to see exactly how the offensive line was faring against some of these good defensive players that they have here. But when you have Jackson Powers Johnson, the center from Oregon, who's the first player I want to highlight here, I could see exactly why you want to make sure you don't miss anything from his snaps. But I thought he looked really good. You guys shows the anchor. Has a little nastiness after some reps, kind of pushing off the defensive lineman. I think he is, as advertised, one of the better players, I thought, from that first practice of the day. And, there was actually a Bears fan here, and he from the stands yelled out, "Do you want to be a Bear?" He's like, "Yeah, it would be great." I'm sure if any other team fan from any other team asked the same question, he would have said the same thing.
No, he wouldn't have.
Future Bear.
Jackson Powers Johnson,
Future
center.
Bear.
Bears,
we do have a couple
Bowl.
of super chats here regarding Jackson Powers Johnson, who's starting to become the fan favorite, like some of the centers of last year that we were dreaming over. Hopefully this time Poles can, bring in our guy. Marco, I got my glasses on.
Resnetis.
Marco Resnetis, $5 super chat. Jackson Powers Johnson kind of looks like Braggs. Draft him number 1 overall. Must be a good-looking guy. Appreciate you guys. You get me through my long commute. CHGO over ESPN any day. Bear down. Take that, Cap. Football CF Candy. Jackson Powers Johnson looks awesome. Bears staff. Polls watching. Question to the panel regarding receiver help. Puka and Reed were at Senior Bowls last year. We draft wide receivers later. Should we draft wide receivers later? Focus on another position at 9. And that's certainly one of the questions I wanted to dial up to you. So that's a good segue by CF Candy. I saw Roman Wilson make a big catch earlier when I was watching the Senior Bowl, Mark Carman. So for your eyes, I'm always got my eyes on wide receivers who I can fall in love with and envision them to be the next great wide receiver for the Chicago Bears that I hype up at camp and then they eventually don't work out. So which wide receivers do you have your eye on that aren't guys that will be in the first round?
Yeah, so Roman Wilson was a guy that stood out during that first practice, Greg, and I just think just watching him in the individual drills, smooth route runner, in and out of his breaks. He had a really nice seam route during the team period where he just kind of understands how to stack the cornerback, create separation, and showed some good hands. So he was one of the wide receivers that really stood out, and I think he would fall into be maybe one of those day two guys. So if you're looking for somebody like that, I can see that being an option for the Bears at 5'10", 186. Not the biggest guy, but also is not one of those smaller guys that I highlighted yesterday during the Shrine Bowl. So that's a step up there. Another wide receiver, though, that I like that I didn't know much about coming into today was Ricky Pearsall from Florida, 6 foot, 193. He just stood out first off in the individual drills, like a bigger guy being able to get in and out of his breaks. I liked his movement skills, but then he's just making plays in the one-on-ones and during the team period. So he kept popping up for me. So that's going to be a guy going into the second practice now that I'm watching to see if he can continue off of that. I thought it was a really good day one practice, and he had a nice contested catch in the back left corner of the end zone going up and just fighting for the football. So anytime you see that stands out. But Ricky Pearsall from Florida is another wide receiver that, again, doesn't fall into that day one first round pick, but could be an impact player if the Bears choose to go that route.
Just, Carm tidbits on Rome. On everybody, but we'll start here with since Braggs loves Roman Wilson out of Go Blue, national champion coming in here. Roman, as you know, Nick, he was born on June 19th, 2001, and on June 19th, other famous people includes the great Paula Abdul. Lawrence,
my
and
brother.
Paula Abdul was a Laker girl, and the Bulls beat the Lakers in the '91 finals. Done.
And Nick's brother was born.
My brother was born on June. Now they got to draft him.
Now, tie it all together, and Roman Wilson is going to be the next great Bear. All right, Nick. Who else did you like today? Keep going.
Yeah, I'm already going to peg this guy as my guy because I didn't know anything about him until today. But Rasheen Ali, Marshall running back. This guy was making a bunch of plays, and I liked his ability to catch out of the backfield. He's listed. Let's see. Of course, I don't have his measurements here, but he's a bigger back that can move. And that's something that the Bears, yes, they have Roschon Johnson, but I really liked his movement skills. And he was doing some good things in the one-on-one. And then in the team period, even though they're not allowed to technically tackle, that would have been a legit run because of his ability to just, one, be patient, waiting for his blocks, but also just accelerate upfield. So I liked the Marshall running back. And then we have Marshall Lloyd from USC. That's a guy that I want to talk to at some point, either after the practice or his a media session later, but I liked how he was moving in the practice. He was also capable of catching out of the backfield, show some good explosion. So 2 running backs to maybe keep your eye on, because I think the Bears, although they have, I think, 2 guys that are good in Khalil Herbert and Roschon Johnson, if Ryan Poles wants to look to add another playmaker at that position, I could definitely see that being a route for them.
So we've got 2 receivers, 2 running backs, and who's your 5th?
It'd be Jackson Powers Johnson.
Oh, right.
The offensive, yeah, Jackson Powers Johnson. That's the man of the hour.
So, one of the advantages we do have here with the coaching staff, of people at the Senior Bowl. I know there's a lot of scouts there with the Bears. Ian Cunningham, Ryan Poles are there. Everybody's taking a look, from a scouting angle. But we also have Kerry Joseph, our new quarterbacks coach, coaching in the Senior Bowl. Have you had your eyes on him and how he's working with these players and what's your impression of him?
Yeah, I'm actually watching him coach the quarterbacks right now. I think I'll get an opportunity to actually talk to him after this practice. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing, just hearing his opinions on obviously Shane Waldron. What characteristics, traits do you need to have as a quarterback to execute the offense that they're going to be running in Chicago? But, yeah, he's out here right now putting in work, coaching up these young quarterbacks. Actually, I got to mention this too. Got a chance to see Sam Hartman, the quarterback for Notre Dame. Man has a great set of hair. Great, just elite. Like if you're great. I mean, I don't think anyone can top him. So if there's categories for things, he's probably at the top of the list for hair. I was like,
Is it making you rethink your decision to cut yours?
It honestly is. Of like, can I do that? I don't know, but it's very impressive. Like,
And
cannot lie.
if you or Hartman do want to get your hair cut, you can go to Midtown Athletic Club. They've got a barber there.
Excellent spot. Yep, good choice.
Perfect.
Hey, Nick, we're going to talk to you tomorrow, same time, same bat channel. Is that the plan?
I think so. Let's do it.
Yeah, keep your eyes on Poles and Cunningham and all their whereabouts, everywhere they're moving. I did see a picture of Ryan Poles. He's getting skinnier. That weighted vest looks like it's done him some good here. Me and Poles cutting the LBs.
Is your camera mounted right now that you could walk away and you'd still be on camera?
I mean, if I walk away, you're just gonna get whatever's behind me.
I want to see if you can do the Poles walking away. Can you imitate Poles and his stroll? Do you have the pole? I've got the Poles walk
stroll?
down. Can you Poles walk for me?
This is a bizarre request.
I don't think I can.
Just say no. Just say no.
Do the
Yeah,
Poles
yeah.
walk.
Here, Nick.
All right, tomorrow I want a Poles walk from you. Watch him today. Get that little Poles strut down. He's got this. I wouldn't even call it a walk. I call it a strut. I want you to Poles strut.
Oh,
And
boy.
one other thing you could do when you're after this hit, MJM Pistols $5 super chat. He says, check out Pearsall's one-hander against Charlotte. I'm a transplanted Bears fan to Florida. Watched him all year. He's a stud.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So maybe that's more important than watching Ryan Poles walk around.
No,
Yeah,
I'm not-
that
I'm-
is important.
No, everything's important. Nick is Nick can do it all. That's why he's down there, and that's why he owns Mobile. You could also get over to Montgomery, Alabama, where I once played in a softball tournament and led us to an 0-2 record and was never back on the team again. All right, Nick, you're the best. Thanks, brother.
All right, you guys.
Thank you.
You're just an odd bird.
Who are you to say
I
anything?
mean, I appreciate it.
You're
I
just-
like
you
I
know,
said, you make me
you're-
look
you're-
you make me look normal, and for that,
Yeah.
I am grateful
Listen,
to know you.
You can be whatever you want to be in life, buddy. I choose to be entertaining and amazing. You can do the other things, and that's fine. And by the way, Braggs, it's getting easier for businesses to switch to electric vehicles. That's something we can all get behind. It's for the health of the planet and for the well-being of all of us who share it.
That's right, weirdo. The electric grid is evolving to meet your cleaner energy needs as we all move with confidence towards an electric tomorrow. Whether you have one delivery van or a whole fleet of shipping trucks, ComEd can help guide you to make the changes that make sense.
So, Gregory, what should business owners do?
I'm going to tell you. Are you listening?
Not really.
All right,
Yes,
try to listen.
Of course I am. I always
Go
listen
to
about ComEd.
ComEd.com/clean to learn more about the resources, fleet rebates, and infrastructure incentives available to help businesses go electric. If you own a business, don't wait. Start making your plan today to switch to electric vehicles. Good for business, good for the planet, good for all of us. Go to ComEd.com/clean.
Did you say ComEd.com/clean?
You were listening. Good job. Yes, I did. Go now and see how going electric connects us to a better way of doing business and a better future for generations to come.
All right, I want to get to our super chats in a second, but I just texted with a scout about Roman Wilson. Response: great route runner, sub 4.4 speed, average height, but huge hops. Always seems to come up with big catches and 50-50 balls. Clutch. Some do question his durability.
Okay.
Just making moves on the fly here.
I was totally waiting for you to say that some question my durability, but you didn't do it.
No, I wouldn't.
almost caught a
I
stray.
never would. I never would do that. I don't. You're not. I don't say anything to you that's not accurate. Your durability's fine. It's the other issues. All right, let's super it up here.
Super dupers.
$5 from our guy Jay Toasty. Ben Johnson, you are a 2025 Chicago Bear. McCaskey's, please pay him. I mean, Jay Toasty, the third part of the news today that he wants $15 million a year. I don't think he's going to get that from the Bears, but maybe you take less to be a Bear because it's just so damn cool to be a Bear.
Yep. Maybe if they'd gotten some of those fourth down conversions, losers. So So
Dan Campbell just had to be. This is what we do. This is who we are. No, buddy. You're up 24-10 in the NFC Championship game. Kick the field goal. Go up 3 scores. Love you, Dan Campbell. Next.
Yeah, Jimmy Tony, $5 super chat. Nobody wants to be judged or fired because they didn't make the previous guys' draft picks work. So I mean, sometimes that plays into it, guys. They want to get their guy. You know,
they extended Cole Kmet. They're about to extend Jalen. You can't do it like that. You are in charge. You make decisions based on the roster. If they win, Ryan Poles is going to get the credit, not Ryan Pace. It's not going to be like there's not going to be a parade of people outside of house like you didn't draft Fields. This is all Pace's team, or Pace gets 28% of the credit. I don't think that should play into whether or not they keep Justin. It's how good they think Caleb is versus Justin.
Right, because if they evaluate to keep Justin, then you are now Fields is your guy.
Exactly.
You signed off for him.
You get the credit for it. All right, next up. Thank you, Jimmy Tony. Antonio Havis. Either way, we love you. Hoge, you didn't need to explain anything. If the crazies didn't watch the whole clip, that's on them. You guys are dope. Antonio, you have no idea how much that means in this
we appreciate it, Antonio.
particular Twitter environment.
That was a good conversation, though. Just to shed a little light on how the evaluation process works for guys.
It was great. You made the whole show late. Didn't follow my lead, but don't.
I enjoyed it, to be honest. And I usually
this is coming from the guy that came on After Dark yesterday. We're talking about Hester, and then he slides in more Jerry Krause arguing.
Well, because
with Jack. So don't talk about any derailing when you are the king conductor of derailing the train every day of my life. Next super chat. Our guy, our 4B ace. Don't look at me like that. $9.99 super chat. I have been waiting for Herb to come back on the show to send this. But when you guys do a worst CHGO takes poll in the dead of summer, I nominate his Justin Fields rant as the worst in CHGO history. Well, that's the game we play here, and you can disagree with Herb all you want. I guess at the end of the day, his take is still to be determined because we still, a lot of things still have to play itself out. But, when you're talking sports and you're doing shows 6 days a week, eight times a week during the season, you're going to have a lot of takes. You're not going to get everything right. Sometimes you're going to get a little excited about wide receivers at camp that eventually get cut in week 2. Sometimes you're going to get a little excited about a developmental quarterback that's undrafted that dethrones P.J. Walker. Even Adam Hoge will readily admit in his draft evaluations you're going to get things wrong.
Let me stop you, if I may.
I'm just saying, you want to go after Herb for calling his worst take. We all have bad takes, even the fans in our chat. And at the end of the day,
a lot of people loved Herb's take.
I'm not all right, but Ace didn't. I'm addressing Ace's super chat. So I'm just saying, I'd love to do a show where we for an hour just go over our old bad takes. We can run the clips. It would be fun. Sometimes you have to laugh at yourself a little bit.
I'm not gonna find those clips.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true. We'd have to save them. It'd be a lot of research.
Yeah.
We could just have the chat do that. I mean, I'm sure they'd.
Good luck.
Yes, Mark?
No, we're good. Herb will be on the show again soon. Chris Piguero, $9.99. If Fields is on this team next year, and that is a big if Justin wins MVP somehow and Caleb throws for 3,500 yards and 30 touchdowns, who is the winner? The Bears or the team that drafted Caleb? The Bears are the winner because they kept the MVP. But look, that is part of the conversation.
We nominate worst super chats of all time. Chris Piguero. I'm kidding, Chris.
That's not the worst super chat.
Okay. It's part of the conversation that should be underlined more, that it could be a win-win whatever way they go. We've talked about that.
Yeah, that's what I think. This is a win-win.
That's one way to look at it.
Win-win-win.
Like being with Greg Braggs is just a win-win. He's either going to annoy you and it's going to be a short time, or he's going to make you love your life so much that you want to spend your entire day with him. Either way, it's a win. Joker, my guy, $19.99 from the Joker. I say we have a civil war. Get it out of the way. We go to paintball explosion, JF1 North versus Caleb South. We fight it out in paintball. Then after the war, we bond in unity. LOL. Braggs, me and you can organize it.
I love this plan. I put it on Twitter yesterday. I think the next time it snows, all of Bears Twitter should meet up for a huge snowball fight. I think paintball explosion is also on the table here. I think this is a good way to get out, some of our frustrations and angst to get us through this offseason is let's all meet up somewhere and, chuck fruit at each other or, do paintball explosion.
Have you ever done paintball?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It is fun.
So we could do that.
Yeah. Have you done it indoors
So
or outdoors?
I think this is a great idea. And then the winner of whoever wins, whatever side wins, gets to decide who the quarterback is next year for Ryan
Right.
Post.
Set it up. I'll be there. One more. Hands down. $4.99.
Die hard, hands down.
Thanks for being real and respectful, CHGO.
Bear fucking down.
Bear fucking down. Hands down, you're the man. We appreciate you. I've seen you a bunch in the chat lately, and it's been glorious. All right. Did you – I think I could sort of breezed
Look
past
at 40-inch Ditka's profile picture. This is a picture of me.
That's you?
Yeah, that's a picture of me. I mean, Lawrence might have to blow it up for Carm's, eyes to see. But I'm sorry. Don't look at me like that. That's me. I shaved my head and my beard one time and raised a bunch of money for charity, for a good cause. I used this stupid, silly little platform that I have in Chicago sports media to raise a lot of money for kids with cancer. So maybe that's something we can do here as we get to the Fields Caleb debate.
You're
try to
good.
raise some money for a good cause.
You're a good man, and that's awesome that you did that. Let me just, as we wrap up here, because we didn't get real deep onto Chris Beatty, the Bears' new wide receivers coach. So he's been with Los Angeles, the Chargers, for the last couple of years. This year, they were 15th in passing, 18th in total yards. The year prior, they were 3rd in passing offense, 9th in total offense. And just, Keenan Allen led them this year with 1,243 yards, which is, whatever.
I've heard some comps for Rome Odunze is Keenan Allen. That's one of the comps I've heard for Rome is Keenan Allen.
Well, the one person that I want to underline that Beatty coaches, DeAndre Carter. All right. He's been in the NFL for 7 seasons. Under Beatty's tutelage, he had 1 year where he had 538 yards and 46 catches. All right. In his 6 other NFL seasons, Eagles, Texans, Commanders, and Raiders, 721 total. So 6 more seasons, less than 200 total yards elsewhere, and 62 catches, which is 16 more in 6 seasons. So he had his best season with Beatty. Beatty raised him up. Beatty's going to raise up the Bears.
Well,
there's my.
I know we were joking with you with Hoge earlier about the importance of this hiring, but I think it can be. I don't think it needs to be undersold. If you look at the development of our wide receivers here, even dating back to the Nagy days, it hasn't been good.
It hasn't.
It hasn't been good. Javon Wims was a promising prospect. They did nothing with him. Anthony Miller comes flying out the gate, has a great rookie year, completely fizzled, hasn't done much in the NFL since. Darnell Mooney, looked like a guy that would be a respectable wide receiver in this league. It's completely fallen apart.
Yeah.
So the development of the wide receiver position has not been a good one. Velus Jones, another candidate for that. Tyler Scott this year, he's still got a long career to go. I'm not writing him off by any means, but not the best rookie year of other rookie wide receivers that have had, a good year around here. So, yeah, I think, a good wide receiver coach is vital here. We need to start developing wide receivers, and clearly they're going to bring a few in here this year.
Agreed. Good coach, good. Bad coach, bad. Thank you for watching the CHGO Bears podcast with my good friend, Gregory P. Allen Braggs.
That's right.
Hoge from Hoge Heaven. Nick from Mobile. I mean, does anybody...
Tavern style coming up for me today.
Speaking of Nick, TBU, our good friend, 49 Super Chat, telling Nick that he says, you're my guy, but For the love of God, please use the voice isolating feature on your AirPods. Great stuff, though. Bear down. So we will let Nick know to voice isolate.
We
and
absolutely
of course,
will.
he doesn't have AirPods. He's a green text guy.
Well, just to underline, nobody is doing more covering this team than we are here. I don't know if any other outlets got people down there at Mobile and being on the show.
We're doing our thing.
We are doing our thing. So
Hoge's working on the draft guide. Nick's working on the Senior Bowl and the Shrine Bowl. I'm working on everything. Carm's doing nothing. Thank you, Sarah. Sarah laughed at my joke.
Yeah, everybody.
That's what you get for all those strays I took in the cleaners ad.
It's fine. Say whatever you want. I know that I'm the MVP of this outfit, and no one's going to tell me differently, so you can say whatever you're going to say. All right. Listen, if you are new and you haven't hit the or you're old and you haven't hit the subscribe button, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 50,000 by the end of Super Bowl week next week. We're at 47. So if you haven't hit it yet, hit that subscribe button every day at noon. And we're pre and post game, breaking news, all of it. Yes.
Become a diehard.
And of
Saw
course,
Illinois Jones asking about it. Go to allchgo.com/diehard. Become a diehard, and you can hang out with us and get all the
Are you doing overtime
amenities.
today?
I gotta get ready for Tavern Style, our new, little.
The fact that you're on Tavern Style before me is a problem, and I'm going to talk to upper management. Have a great rest of your day. Tavern Style with Braggs and
Cody Delmendo,
Coming
the
up.
meatballs, baby.
Let's go. We'll see you tomorrow.
We all city like the mayor.